Welcome, Underestimated 2.0 podcast. I'm Juwan Dowles.
I'm Carter Jacobs.
And we're going to dive right into South Florida football, high school football. Oh, man, I mean, let's take them back to
the old days?
Yeah, the good old days. Oh, man, football is so different now in South Florida. We're not gonna talk about the transfer, all that stuff, because that's another story to tackle. But high school football, man, it's pretty I would say sporadic. You know, the top teams are the top teams, but I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna speak on Heritage a little bit. They're still on top.
They're still a powerhouse.
Oh,
I think the powerhouses are going to stay the powerhouses. There's going to be a couple teams that will start to creep in and make a difference. It's just all a matter of the transfers, like you said, which we don't really have to dive fully into. But if you got a coach somewhere, the guys are going to follow the coaches. It's just how it is. I mean, they do it in college too. People go to places for the coaches.
It's a little different though, because I don't know. We when we were playing, it was more so not even the coaches. I don't even think it mattered with the coaches. I think we had like a player, like a friend sort of bond.
Correct.
These kids, I mean, it's just a different.
The loyalty is no longer there.
Oh no,
it's every man for themselves at this point.
What is loyalty? I mean, oh man. I think because I coached down at Pace. And Miami's known for talent, but it's so many kids that up and go here, left, right, down, and it's like not even. They don't want to compete. So I mean, it's fun though. But there's a lot of talent. You know, there's a lot of talent down in Miami. Even in Broward, I'm a DB guy, so, you know, as far as DBs go, there's a lot of young talent, like sophomore talent, junior talent. The 2021 class is going to be huge for DBs. I think that's going to be a lot of kids coming out and having a chance to go, you know, play college ball. Who I like, one school in Broward, depending on what street you cross. Some people, they have a lot of Miami kids on the border. Miramar, oh man, Miramar has a lot of DB talent. One kid down there, Timothy White, you know, he's a very special talent. You know, he's a safety nickel guy. I don't know too much about Broward kids right now, but you know, he's one of the guys to look out for. What do you see down at your old stomping grounds, talent wise?
So I actually go to Heritage most game days when they're at home.
As expected.
I try to help out as much as I can, put in some good words here and there. They're a really talented football team.
Mm-hmm.
They have great coaching, obviously.
Yeah.
Very well-rounded. One thing about them is they got talent in so many different places that it's easy to win games, but I feel like the way they have bonded this year, it's going to make them a true contender.
Yeah.
You got Doug Emelian, who looks like a grown man amongst boys.
Man, Doug. That's right.
Catching slants, taking them 80. I mean, it just doesn't. He's just that guy.
Yeah.
But they're a really young team. They have a lot of young talent. So I expect to see a lot from them, especially over the next few years.
I heard about that coach they got down there, Mike Smith. I don't know if he's on the chopping block this year.
Mike Smith is, a very subpar trainer. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he made it this far. I mean, he's on the chopping block.
He's definitely the secret that no one knows about, but people probably know about him now. So please, no one try to take him. He's not going to go anywhere. He's probably going to stay there and continue to beat everyone else's ass.
He's going to pull a Mike Rumph.
No.
No, I hope not. I hope not.
And
Yeah,
Mike's having himself a good time out in Miami. He's definitely doing really well.
That's right.
I think he's really molded that program with their defensive backs, and they're starting to get back to when they were in the early 2000s. With their DBs are coming out and they're going to the NFL. They're making plays. They're doing what they got to do, and I think a lot of his coaching has to do with it.
Like, just to talk about that whole family, like Heritage is like a family, like knitted. Like, it's been 5 years since we've been there, and everybody that we know is still there. We can still go back any given time and have a good time and laugh and stuff like that. I mean,
everything is well tied. It's
Yeah.
definitely well tied. Even people that we didn't play with. I mean,
Exactly.
we've somehow worked out with him in some way, probably with Mike.
Yeah.
So, the bond is incredible. So you just head back there and it's...
I mean, I think that team, like, I'm going to go back. That team we played on was just ridiculous talent-wise. I promise you I won't say anything else about it. I'm lying.
No,
But
yeah.
that team was
It's
loaded.
definitely something you can relate back
Oh
to
my
often.
God.
It's a team that it's a once in probably 10-year type team.
We should have played
with the
a
talent.
Texas team or something out of state. I mean, although we were like one and done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like that, like you can never forget that team. Like
Mhm.
it was just too much talent.
I mean, the only
much
loss
talent.
we kind of faced was against Miami Central, which we all remember
Oh man,
very vividly. They had an all-pro running back, I would say. He's on the Vikings now, Dalvin Cook.
And it's not fair. I'm gonna say it. It wasn't fair because we were just trying to gel and we were finding ourselves. But if we were 5 games in, I think we beat them.
It's possible.
I think
It's
so.
definitely possible. But, I'll give it to Dalvin. He had a great game.
I was thinking,
Joe Yerby had a great game as well.
Mm.
At the time, I did kind of think that Joe Yerby was a little better than him. I think
Yeah.
when we played them. I didn't really see a lot out of Dalvin that game, but, when he showed up, he showed up.
Yeah, and we was talking about those top tier teams that are just always gonna be good. You're gonna expect them to be in the top ranks, state champs, all that stuff. Central, Carroll City, Northwest, and those schools just
Booker T,
stay loaded. And they have guys, growing up, JV all the way to the senior year, and they just become dogs, out of those programs.
Mhm.
Kudos to those coaches, down in Miami. Let's talk about some of the underestimated talent in South Florida football. You see so many top tier guys come out of South Florida, but the key that keeps South Florida going, we have a lot of 2-star, 3-star kids that could very well be 5 stars in other states. Let's dive in a little bit on how many guys you think deserve a higher
ranking.
higher ranking, more spotlight, but it's just not enough space. It's just too
Yeah.
it's big but it's small at the same time. It's a lot of good talent.
And I can't really speak to names as much anymore. I follow high school sports. Speaking to names of kids, there's so many kids to name, but
Exactly.
I know one, Daryl Porter Jr.
Mm-hmm.
specifically. Kid's phenomenal. He definitely doesn't get as much praise nationally as he should.
Exactly.
He does still get praise, but I think he's a player that definitely could be 4 or 5 star type kid.
Oh my God! And I got a chance to watch him play this past Friday, and he's a little guy, but he plays big. I mean, he
Kind of
he
reminds me of
tackles.
someone else on my team that we had.
Yeah, he's
A
freaking,
guy named Juwan Dowd.
he freaking tackles. He covers. He knows what he's doing. He feels comfortable. He's not on edge out there. He just plays within himself. And I mean, like you said, he don't get too much praise because obviously we know the guys who do. They're freaking. They look the part. They freaking move like this kid is. It'd be my first time seeing him play. Actually, it's my second time because we played against him first game.
Sorry about that too. by the way.
Hey man, it's like I said, if it was game 8, I think we get him. So like he plays within himself, and you know, he don't get the praise, but you know, people know about him. You know, the coaches on the next level know about him, and you know, he's doing really good. You know, he's playing. You know, he's having a good season down at Heritage.
I'd love to debate one topic with you, Juwan. Actually, this
Oh.
actually brings up a topic for me.
Okay.
So, you know, Heritage has had a slew of corners come through the system.
Oh my
correct?
Lord. Correct.
I'd love to talk about who is the best cornerback duo of all time. You have you and Tavares McFadden, obviously.
Okay.
You know, Syracuse, Western Michigan, Florida State. That gauntlet. Then you also have Tyson Campbell and Pat Surtain going to Georgia and Alabama. They were the number 1 and number 2 ranked corners.
I remember. Oh man.
In high school football on the same team. And now you have Daryl Porter. I can't think of the other kid's name off the top of my head. Vontae.
Another great corner.
Sleeper.
Sleeper.
This is my thing. Who's the best?
Oh, it's so many duos. Like Heritage is low key DBU. Like, a lot of people don't know, but DBU like consistently like every year. So,
I left out Marco Wilson too. Marco Wilson was one
and
as well.
Oh my God. See, so many different combos. I mean, you don't know which one.
I think it was Marco and Pat, right?
Marco and Pat, yep. And Tyson was at safety at the time. I'm gonna go out on the limb. Can I plead the fifth?
No.
Okay.
No, you can't.
Just making sure that
I'm going to
was
be
obvious.
biased, and I'm going to pick UNT just for the sole purpose of the amount of turnovers we had that year.
Are you in my head right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same.
100%.
I mean, everybody came through there was good talent. Like everybody had their niche, everybody had their thing. But as far as like how you said, like I don't think that year we came out, I don't think our secondary got as much notoriety as we should have. I mean, we had two of like the best white safeties in Heritage history. Maybe South Florida history.
No, maybe though.
You know, we
actually got into beef. Remember with Cardinal Gibbons, we got into some beef with them in the papers.
They thought Cardinal Gibbons was gonna.
That's when they had the whole air raid offense. That's when they first started coming out with everything. And then a broken collarbone and 2 pick six later. It was over.
No. Let's be very specific. The first 2 drives were pick sixes.
Yeah.
So off the bus, the score was 21-0.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that could be top based off of the talent that came after us, but I think we set the tone for DBU.
Yeah, I just think
we set the tone.
I will say though, Tyson and Pat, incredible.
I mean,
don't throw the ball. You just can't throw the ball.
No,
you have to run the ball, and you'll lose.
Exactly, and I mean that core that group of defenders that year. We had T on one side, I'm on the other side, Carter in the slot, fucking Kyle's in the middle,
free,
and it's like as a core group, I think we gelled so well. We communicated. Our chemistry was just, I don't know if it could be matched. Some people might say, Pat and Marco was the best. I mean, it is what, but we were all so good at what we did, and we'll leave that up for discussion.
We'll leave it up for debate.
Yeah,
go ahead and like, comment, subscribe.
I mean, shout out to Pat at Alabama. I mean, he's doing a true freshman
doing his
play.
thing. Tyson's doing great too.
Marco doing awesome, coming back from his ACL injury, and he's playing like he never left.
Huge kudos.
I mean, huge. Also, a kid who don't on the offensive side, who don't get as much credit as I think he deserves. Keyshawn Brown down at Pace High School. We talk about Isaiah McKenzie, how it's supposed to be. I don't think he's that explosive, but he's only a junior right now.
You got to be careful what you say there.
He's very. You're right.
You got to be careful what you say there.
I have to, because that kid moves. He's a spark. You give him the ball on the bubble, you might expect 30 yards, maybe even a touchdown. That kid is so explosive. is going to be a very underrated prospect coming out of high school. I tip my hat off to him. He's not the biggest guy, but he plays like he's freaking 6'3", running a 4.4. Like he's a very good talent. And you always gotta go back to and say, okay, who can you compare him to? And if I had to compare him to anybody, it'll probably be the closest is Isaiah McKenzie. Keyshawn Brown is an awesome talent. A guy to look out for in that 21 in that next year's class. Just big kudos to Keyshawn Brown down at Pace. Let's jump on to the college ranks. College football.
Cats by 90. That's all I got to say.
Against Bama.
Bama? We got them.
We want Bama.
We'll take them. Cats are winning by 90.
Shout out to Syracuse.
Listen,
Syracuse.
Vegas doesn't know. I'm putting the Cats over every time.
All right,
by
now.
90. They're
all
covered.
Right now. Okay, now. Is that Monopoly money, or are we talking?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, in that case, then I'm betting the house too. I mean, college football. We cannot talk enough about college football. We have freaking talent, South Florida talent all over. As everybody knows, that's no secret. South Florida football. You know, we got Florida State, Florida, USF, Miami. Every team.
You forgot the national champions from 2017.
Oh, UCF. I'm sorry.
UCF.
I apologize.
Which were just dethroned by the Cats, who won by 90. I don't know if you remember. They took it by 90.
Look at you.
I was on a cruise ship, actually, with a bunch of UCF fraternity brothers. And, I wasn't saying much. I was keeping it really low-key, to be honest. They knew I played on the team. The game was going on. We started getting momentum. They started getting pissed off. And at that point, I had to turn the table on them. And I said, Cats are winning by 90. They don't get it.
Listen, Syracuse or Cincinnati? I'm taking Syracuse. I'll give a spread of...
They used to play each other back in the day.
2 touchdowns.
They used to play back in the
Big
day.
East. Oh, man, the Big East was a really
That's
good
old
conference.
School.
Yeah, I think, Syracuse won that head-to-head.
Well, hopefully they get to a bowl game and they can play. That'd be great.
That would be...
I'd love that.
That would be something to talk about.
But there were some big games this weekend. Georgia got upset by South Carolina.
Yeah, that was huge.
I think the defensive stands that South Carolina was having the whole game were second to none.
They had
Jake Fromm, DeAndre Swift, shutting everyone down on Georgia, and
I mean, just crazy.
They came out to play. I mean, I know, in the end, it was overtime. Kicker missed the field goal to bring it into the third overtime, but
yeah,
I don't really take that stuff into account.
The game was already lost.
That stuff that stuff happens. Like you can't put it all on the kickers. It's not their fault.
No. But Carter, they do have a job. They do have a job. But you can't expect them to execute 100 times out of 100 times. Yes, you can.
I don't think you can, because you can't expect a quarterback to make like 10 out of 10 passes.
Listen, you can. You expect it,
but he doesn't do it. Correct.
Correct. Okay, that's right. But everybody knows. I mean, you played.
Oh no, I held for kickers. I held for kickers in high school. So
it was probably a couple times that the kicker missed because of you. You're botching the hole.
There's a chance.
You're botching the hole.
There's a chance.
But in sake of the rest of the team, when we send that kicker out there, we expect 3 points.
100%.
I mean, unless we know he's had a bad week and he's his toe got stubbed, it's too cold, But at the end of the day, he got to make that kick.
It's all about their mental space, to be honest. That is the huge factor.
Correct.
That plays into them making or missing a kick.
Correct.
I mean, the hold is huge, the snap is huge, but
I think kickers should have like a little spot on the sideline with just. It's almost like
a team psychiatrist. Take care of them.
No, not even like just put them in like a box the whole game, and then when it's time for him to kick, you bring them out and just put them on like a little tunnel vision, blinders,
like the horses.
Yeah, because when they feel that momentum, when they feel that crowd and all that,
you never know.
It messes them up.
You never know.
It messes them up.
It's give and take.
Yeah.
And as the holder, if it's a make or miss, right when he hits the ball. I can hold the football.
How do you know that? How do you?
You can just feel it. You can just feel it. You're like, I don't know about that one.
Maybe
and
that's
you look
some holder.
up and
Maybe that's some holder experience.
yeah, I'm telling you.
I know when it's a miss. When it's a miss, I can't really. I'm looking from the sideline. I don't really know too much about that. Do you think a snapper knows when the kick is gonna be missed?
The snapper doesn't know. The snapper just fires that thing back there. He hums that thing in there. They're throwing burgers all day. I'll tell you one thing though. We had a game. I tore my quad the week before.
Mm-hmm.
I tore my quad the week before, missed a game against Miami, Ohio. Then we played USF the week after.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't playing. I wasn't dressed. I was on the sideline. And our kicker missed a couple kicks. And, our head coach was Tommy Tuberville at the time. And he comes over to me while I'm standing on the sideline. And he's like, "Can you hold?" And I said, I don't know. And he goes, "All right, get him ready." So I was in a situation where I had no choice. Like I had to go suit up. So they took me back to the locker room. I suited up, and I had the PT athletic trainers, all them. They're pumping my leg so it would bend because my quad was torn. So I couldn't really bend my knee.
Yeah.
To get down in that position to hold the field goals.
Did you have to lay on your stomach?
So I was in the full lunge holding these field goals, like a full lunge. And I come out. There's one kick that happens after I had to get dressed. So
the kicker's definitely blaming you if he missed while you was holding the ball.
I come in, I hold the kick. He strikes the ball better than all the other balls that he's hit. Way better. So kudos to that, but it didn't go in. And I jogged back the sideline, and I honestly can say I was pretty pissed. I was like, I did all that, got my leg pumped. My leg was getting pumped. It was getting churned like butter to get back into a game. And I said, I did all that, and, it didn't go through.
Hey, listen. You win some, you lose some.
You do, but I'll tell you what, I'm never doing it again.
Until
it's the game-winning kick. I'll get my leg pumped for that, yeah.
Hey, holders and snappers, I think, are very underrated. They don't get enough praise. The kicker get the praise when the kick is made.
The kickers do get the praise.
But once it's missed, it's like...
We should come for Pat McAfee's head and just make a full-fledged podcast, side note from this one, about snappers and holders.
Noted.
I think it's an untapped market, so to speak.
Ask Tony Romo
how
valuable holding is and how much of a risk it can be if you can't catch that ball.
It's hard in the rain. It's hard in the
Super Bowl.
It's hard.
Super Bowl chances. Tony Romo, I'm so happy he's gone. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not.
So we can get a little back into college football.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
So, we talked about South Carolina,
holders.
Georgia. There was a big game last night. I don't know if you knew about it. LSU, Florida. What do you think about that game?
I thought going into it, coming off of Florida's last against Auburn, which I didn't think Florida was going to win that game. And they played that explosive offense so well. And kudos to Florida winning that Auburn game. And they come back this week. It's tough. Their schedule is not easy. Come back and play LSU, who is a powerhouse on offense now, with Joe back there at quarterback. And they literally did whatever they wanted against Florida. Florida was really... It wasn't too much of a underdog, Florida was, but just enough. And LSU... up and down the field on Florida.
It definitely seemed, as I watched, it seemed like a shootout, so to speak, scoring the ball.
Yeah.
And I don't think Florida could keep up after a while.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, though, I think he proved a lot of people wrong.
Yeah.
In the sense that, he hasn't been playing good defenses and he hasn't performed really he hasn't seen a defense like Florida's, but he kind of came and showed he can do it against Florida. He can probably do it against any team in the country. I'd love to see him play Bama, which is going to come pretty soon.
It's coming.
But yeah, I mean,
But-
I think Florida, they didn't play terrible. They played a good game. It was a great
They
game.
did the best they can.
It just came down to, Joe Burrow taking over and their defense
Exactly.
also stepping up.
Yeah, I think to Florida's account, they are on their third quarterback. Right now I think they have a good system with coming. They have a 2 quarterback system. They bring in a running quarterback, and also they have a nice quarterback that's gonna manage the game and do what he's asked. But LSU just showed that they were just superior that night, and with a few plays here or there, they came out on top. But nevertheless, at halftime it was 21-21, and it was a good game going in the second half.
I actually saw on ESPN some people were arguing to say that if LSU were to win against Florida, they'd be considered the best team in the NCAA. What's your hot take on that? Is that a hot take, or do you think they're not the best team in college football?
If they would have beat LSU, it would have been a very, very good debate. A very good debate because they beat Auburn, who was ranked 6th last week when they played them. Then they come back and then they take down LSU. That would have been.
Do you think LSU
huge.
is the best team in college football right now? They're definitely a hot
Possibly.
commodity. I think they're
I
top
definitely
4.
say I say they top 3.
Okay.
They're definitely top 3 with a strong 4 in Oklahoma. I mean, LSU has shown great strides. They're doing really good down there. I think a game against Bama, if they play Bama, which I think that game is going to be freaking scoring fest with those 2 offenses, and I honestly believe they can be the best team.
We can only find out in a couple weeks, right?
Can they beat Clemson? Yes, they can. Is Clemson really, really, really good? I believe so. ACC, stand up.
I think they took a couple steps back from where they were.
Yeah.
Not many steps, maybe 2 steps.
They're finding their identity.
But they're starting to get back to it. I think they're missing a few key pieces. They had Hunter Renfrow.
Mm-hmm. Hunter Renfrow just...
Not having Hunter Renfrow as like that so-called security blanket, it's different now.
Yeah.
He's got to find
They do
a new target. And I think he's starting to find his stride with the offense, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. He's having a shaky year. I think, not the year that he's expected. He has a lot of, growing pains to get over. But nevertheless, they didn't lose yet.
Yeah, and I think once you get
lose.
more film on quarterbacks, you can start to pick up on their tendencies. And I think that's kind of the difference between this year and last year with Trevor Lawrence is people are starting to study him a little more. They're getting more film on him. At first, when he was a freshman last year, you had nothing on him.
No,
You didn't know what the kid was going to do. He was just going to come in there and sling the ball around. You had
pure talent.
You had nothing to do. You were just sitting back and you're like, I can't do anything about this.
Oh man, he's so, and it's crazy. He's only a sophomore doing this. I mean,
Correct. And I'll be honest, I was a doubter of him when I watched him in the Army All-American game.
Dang you, Carter.
He was throwing picks in the All-American game. I'm like, who is this kid? I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, he's a special talent.
And then he comes in and he proved me wrong. I was quick to judge. I didn't have enough. What's the word I'm looking for? I didn't have a big enough portfolio of his background to understand like how good of a talent he was. And I watched him in the Army All-American game, and it's like, I don't know if this guy's got it, but
when I watch,
definitely got it.
When I watch Clemson, it's like, okay, they're gonna win. They have the better, talented athletes. But then you watch them take down Bama. You're like, okay, kudos to
Coaches.
Oh my God, kudos to the freaking team. That's when I knew. I mean, Bama. We look at Bama as like, if you can beat Bama, then you can. Bama, they demolished Bama,
Mm-hmm.
and I gotta give them kudos for that. I mean, praise. It was huge. Let's talk a bit about the game coming up here. Florida at South Carolina this next week. Not sure the time yet. Should be a late game, but South Carolina's coming off a huge win. Florida's coming off a huge loss. At South Carolina, what do you think are some of the keys for Florida to get back on a winning track, or South Carolina to get another big win? Because they're going to be ranked. They're going to be ranked.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see What do you think are some of the keys for that victory?
I think for Florida to win, they just need to come out strong on offense. I mean, if their offense plays the way they played last week, I think they'll win. I think defensively, they just need to find their stride, get some turnovers, get some momentum in their favor, and I think it'll be a good win for them. Do I think it's going to be a high-scoring game? No, because South Carolina's defense has been playing pretty lights out. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I think Florida's defense is going to be the reason why they're going to win the game.
Okay, I mean that could be true because I mean South Carolina, we don't know about their offense, but we know their defense is gonna come.
Correct.
Strong. Muschamp. Do you think Muschamp is still feeling a little salty about getting fired from Florida? Or you think he's over that?
I think there's a little bit of bad blood in his mouth, but I don't think there's much at this point. I think he's probably still happy to be coaching and have a job.
I think this game is personal though.
It'll be a personal game.
I think it's personal.
I think it'll be a personal game, but I think Florida will pull away with it from their defense.
I'm just happy it's at South Carolina because they got a little edge, going into the game.
I have a prediction. I have T.J. Slayton coming in with 1 sack. I got Marco Wilson getting an interception in South Carolina.
There we go. Heritage Pride, stand up. Heritage Pride, baby. Plantation, Heritage of Plantation. Delray like to take credit for our guys sometimes, just to put a specific location out there. Okay. Michigan and Penn State, Big Ten. I don't call it a rivalry, but it's a big game. Penn State is gonna pack the house every single game. They could be playing freaking Mary Sister School of the Blind, and they're gonna sell out. Penn State.
Correct.
That may be a night game too.
It's probably going to be a night game. That'll probably be a primetime game. I think I'm going to take Michigan in it.
Oh,
I hate to say it.
Oh,
but I'm going to say Nick Eubanks is going to make some plays. I am very biased.
You are very on top
right
of
now.
the Heritage alum program.
I'm saying Nick Eubanks is going to have a big day. Shea Patterson's going to find a lot of comfort in throwing him the ball.
I hope he get a touchdown as well. I don't know. I'm gonna go on the other side and take Penn State at home. I'm gonna give it a 28-24 final.
Hot take.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. I'm not too sold on the Harbaugh bandwagon right now.
Listen, Harbaugh, he has his very I want to say interesting ways of doing things. Not many people probably understand him, but there's probably a method to his madness.
I love his brother down in Baltimore.
Oh yeah, he's great. They're incredible. Great pick in Lamar Jackson, the most elusive player in sports.
Oh man, no doubt about that. I played against Lamar Jackson. Is the truth, no doubt about that.
How did that go for you? By the way, I actually watched that game. I believe was that on a Friday or a Saturday?
It's been a while. A couple concussions ago. I don't remember the exact.
I think I saw that game. I think either my game was on a Friday or Thursday, and we were able to watch the game. But I think I remember it, and I think he had a good run with you guys.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson definitely is a freaking talent. Since we're on the topic, this play always comes up, so I'm gonna just clear the air before you bring it up. The hurdle. We're gonna talk about the hurdle. The guy he hurdled was actually one of my very close friends.
Oh,
shout out to Cordell Hudson.
Sorry to hear about that.
He always gets it.
It happens. You can't win them all.
You're right. You can't. And
you can't win them all.
I mean, it's Lamar Jackson. I mean, you look at him, and you're like, it's Lamar Jackson. Like,
correct.
It's okay. I mean, but he's a special talent. He's done a lot for that LSU. For that Louisville program, and they're actually doing a very good job now this year with new coaches there. Winning some games this year.
They are.
First year turning around. I'm actually surprised. They're 4-2.
I loved Louisville. They were recruiting me when I was in high school. It was when Charlie Strong was there. He actually slid into my Facebook DMs. And it was cool. I went and watched them play. I want to say it was at FIU.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched them play at FIU.
Did you big time them?
That was when Teddy Bridgewater was there. Still.
Did you big time them?
No.
Okay.
No. No.
Just making sure you didn't.
He kind of went ghost on me though. He ghosted me.
Oh, he did one of those hit up and then.
Yeah. They
read
probably
your
filled
message
up.
and then
They
didn't
probably
reply.
filled up their pool. I think a lot of kids need to start understanding that too. I think a lot of these kids see the bigger schools and they don't understand.
Mm-mm.
They don't really understand how the recruiting process works.
No, they don't.
You know, to these kids, they think it's all the praise. They love all the positives, but they don't really see the negatives, which is something you do have to look into because, to be honest, you guys are all sitting on a board in their room.
a board they have
in the-
no clue about. Like
in their
the-
coaching staff room,
Oh my
there's a
God.
board, and there's everyone listed on that board that's a recruit, commits, people they have offers out to, etc. And
Yeah.
you're listed and you're ranked based on who they want more than the other.
all all those phone calls, you don't know where you rank on the board. It's almost like a freaking. I thought I had a good analogy, but
It's okay.
it just slipped my mind. But you got they have no clue. Like one day you're the best thing walking, next day
You could slide down.
it's like, yeah, it's crazy.
You never know.
It's
And I
crazy.
mean, I think, the head coach has the ultimate say, but the position coaches definitely play a huge factor in who they want, who they think is the talent that they want to represent their coaching
It's a
on the
dirty
field.
game, dirty game,
And it's very political, man. I mean, it's extremely political. I mean, we went to Notre Dame. It was me, Sony, Nate, Kirchmeyer.
oh, look at
and,
that group. That's a
Michael
talented
Deeb.
group.
That was an interesting trip. We can talk about that another time when we have Michael Deeb as a guest. We can
Michael G. That's
yeah,
right.
we can definitely talk more about that
dive
later.
right into that.
But I mean, I literally asked. I was like, where am I on your board? And I was 3 or 4 on their board. So I mean, immediately from there, it's just
At least they were honest.
a matter of, do you want to be that guy that they're going to fall back on if the other guys don't end up committing and signing?
yeah.
And that's not a risk that a lot of people are willing to take.
No, and then I'm surprised they told you like 3 or 4 because a lot of people are everybody's number 1 on the board.
Yeah, everyone's gonna say, "Hey, you're my number 1 guy on the board."
until they want to commit, and now
I think
they're like,
I think
hold
the
on.
best thing the coaches can do is just be honest with a lot of these players, and you don't see it enough, but it's definitely starting to become more prevalent that some of the coaches are being truthful with them now, which is
What is
huge.
loyalty? What is loyalty? There's no loyalty. Nope. These coaches are one day you're the freaking guy they're looking for. You're the guy we're looking for. We want you. Next day you're, what's your name again?
I have a huge respect for some of the coaches though, but they do. I mean, you have to understand that this is their livelihood too, and they're going to go places where they see suited best for them and their families.
I hate that
I mean,
too.
we had a coach. I can't even remember his name because he was at our school for about 2 weeks. He came in as a running backs coach, and everyone's all like really excited to have this guy as running backs coach. This is in Cincinnati, and then all of a sudden he's gone. And I was like,
Over some money.
"Where'd he go?"
Over money.
He went to a different school,
I bet he did.
got more money,
Yeah,
and
freaking
I don't blame him.
money hungry guys.
I can't blame him.
Listen, I tell you one thing, kids, high school kids, go to the school that's gonna best fit you. Don't chase the coach. Go to the school that you're gonna first of all have a good time. You can't forget about it. But the education is
Huge.
important. It's important.
Huge.
It's a what they say. It's a 40-year plan.
I think they do say something like that.
Yeah, it's a 40-year plan, not a 4-year plan. So go what's gonna put you in the best situation. And kids don't look at that stuff.
No, I mean they're young.
You know?
I mean we didn't look at it.
Yeah.
We didn't look at it that way, but we had a better understanding of it, I think.
Yeah. The experience is what helped
Yeah.
me.
I mean, I remember you in high school getting recruited by Oklahoma. You wanted to go to Oklahoma. They were really big on you, on you. And then I forget what happened with that.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about it, but you brought it up. So I was getting recruited by Oklahoma, and they came in. First I didn't believe they called. I remember that day actually. We went to the fundraiser at the hospital, and we came back. Coach Spivey was in the office. He's like, Oklahoma just called for you. I'm like, shut up. Like, no, they didn't. So yeah, I have the number. So me being curious, I go and I call the number back right there in the office, and he said, hello, coach. He had a really southern accent, and I was like, wait, this for real? I was like, this is Juwan Dowles. And he was like, oh, hey, we watched your film. We watched it. And he came down that very week, that same week, sat in my house, told him how much, they tell you all the good stuff. And, I'm eating it up. I'm like, oh, okay. And I told the coach, I said, I'm committed to NIU right now. And he was like, to be honest, we don't really care. We're going to recruit y'all. And I'm like, dang. Like,
big jump.
Yeah, and so, long story short, came down. That was the same year Oklahoma beat Alabama. And
a lot of hype around that. Yeah.
Oh my God! Once they beat Alabama, the floodgates opened for recruitment. The coaches told me that I didn't have the right scores, and I was like, "What? What do you mean?" And kind of find out they were recruiting a 4-star corner, and so they lied to me.
Yep,
they lied. But that's the game.
That's the nature of the beast.
Man. It's the game, and I took it on the chin. But the game is dirty, and you gotta find a way. I mean, it's some good to it.
There is some.
You just gotta make sure you're making calculated steps and milk it
100%.
for everything it is, because once you sign those papers, there's no more recruitment unless you enter the portal.
Which is seeming to be very more
popular.
frequent.
Very popular.
And we can dive in at some point to the athletes making some money as well. That'll probably be for another day.
Yeah.
But that's something we're gonna definitely touch on.
I totally have an opinion on that. So yeah, we're gonna save that for another day.
That might be long.
Last game here we look forward to watching next week. 13 Oregon at Washington. Now it's a Pac-12 game. Those two teams have been Oregon's back on the come up. Washington has been a very good top 25 good Power 5 team. 2 losses this year. Oregon 1 loss. Is at Washington. What's your take? What's your score prediction on that West Coast game?
I got Oregon winning it. I love the quarterback. I'm a huge Mario Cristobal fan.
Love Mario.
Mario Cristobal, incredible human being, incredible memory, to be honest. In high school, he came a couple times, and he remembers names like crazy. He remembers my dad's name.
That's a skill.
Like he was just like, "Hey man, how's it going?" I wish him happy birthday on Facebook pretty frequently.
You and his Facebook
every year. Yeah, I'll go on Facebook and wish him happy birthday, but. I got them, man. I mean, I like the quarterback there. I think Washington, they're going to put up a fight in the beginning, but I think Oregon's going to pull away with it.
I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to go down to the fourth quarter. I love what Coach Mario Cristobal is doing with Oregon. Took over head coach.
After Billy Taggart.
Taggart came down to
both Florida
State,
guys.
And he took over there, and he's doing a phenomenal job with implementing the things he want to implement. And he's a well-renowned, coach down in South Florida when he was at FAU and things like that. And
I was kind of surprised when he went over to Oregon, just because he did so much recruiting out of Florida, and he went to Oregon. And I'm like, are they going to do recruiting out of Florida still, or? Because he's such a frequent face that you would see.
Yeah, they actually have a good mixed group. They got some South Florida kids, which is
hard to get over there.
Hard. I mean,
it's definitely hard to get over there
on the West Coast, and you're recruiting and you're trying to pull kids out of Florida, good talent
who know
kids
nothing but Florida.
And I think those jerseys and those facilities over there is a getter.
That actually reminds me of a really funny story. So you know how we used to work out at the Heritage Power Plant with Mike Smith.
Yeah,
we had like coaches coming in to recruit all the time. I mean, most people came in to see Sony, of course, and me and Sony are getting a good lift in. I worked out with him often. I think he's the reason why I was probably as strong as I was. But we would lift, and some guy comes into the weight room, and he's in a pinstripe suit with a top hat, a pimp cane, and just championship rings all on his fingers. And me and Sony were in a squat rack, and we turn around, and I see this guy, and I'm like, who the hell is this? I'm like, who's this pimp that just walked into our damn weight room? And come to find out, it was the Oregon's running backs coach. He came down to see Sony. I think he stopped to see Dalvin Cook too in Miami. But Sony talked to him. It was a really brief conversation, and Sony pretty much was like, no, like, I don't want to go to Oregon. It's way too far.
Nobody. It's hard.
I thought it was one of the funniest things ever, because I feel like the guy came all the way there just to see him, and he was like, no, like.
F off. No, I was kidding.
But that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen a coach do, is show up in a pinstripe suit, top hat, cane. It was
He tried
little
to
extra for me.
He should have bought some jerseys with him. Maybe that would have been a good selling point.
Little extra.
Yeah. Bought some jerseys with Michelle on the back. or 2 stacks. If it's
2 stacks. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. Sony should at one point change his last name from Michelle to 2 stacks on his jersey, kind of like the Ocho Cinco.
Listen. If we did that,
Marketing. Hashtag branding.
Do you think Bill Belichick would approve?
No.
What about?
I think Bill would release him immediately.
I definitely think Tom Brady would approve.
Tom Brady would love it.
Tom Brady would
definitely like it.
Unless he messed up or something.
Yeah.
Then he would blame the
100%
the name on the back. But yeah, that's a classic story right there. That's a classic story. You know, to wrap up the college football realm, we look forward to the games coming up next week. Michigan, Penn State being a big game. Florida at South Carolina. South Carolina's coming off a big win. Florida looking to, you know, find their footing again, you know, on the road. Oregon, Washington, you know, I definitely believe Oregon's gonna you know, take that game. But nevertheless, watch out for Washington, because they've, you know, been a steady competitor the last 4 years over on the West Coast. Let's dive in on the NFL. Let's talk about a couple games. Of course, we can't leave out the Dallas Cowboys, America's team.
Mm-hmm.
We are the best. Super Bowl this year. That's probably why a lot of people hate us. But Eagles, Cowboys coming up. You know, conference divisional game. Placing implications. I know you're probably not gonna root for the Cowboys. I'm not even gonna ask you what do you think the score might be, because I don't want to, you know, you to jinx anything.
I think the Cowboys will win. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a huge
I'll take it.
fan
I'll take it.
of the Cowboys.
A lot of people aren't. You can't really. You know,
I wouldn't say I'm really a
issue.
fan of any team, so to speak. It's a hot take. I kind of just watch the sport for the sport.
Yeah.
You know, I watch it for what it is.
It's,
I don't really look at the teams and go, you know, I love them. Like, that's my team.
you have to love them though. You have to have a team in the NFL.
No, I don't know.
You can't just watch. You can just watch the NFL and not have a team.
I don't have a team.
Or do you have a fantasy team?
No, I don't. I don't
my
play fantasy.
God.
It's the hottest take
Oh my
probably
God.
amongst my friends group.
Fantasy.
They're like,
is
you're the
huge.
guy that plays football. You know football probably pretty well, but you don't play fantasy.
Do you
and
do pick 'em at least?
Nope.
Oh my God.
Nope. I don't do anything.
Do you watch it with I can't even. Like, do you watch it with some milk?
Yeah.
A cup of milk.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Alright, that's fair.
I don't. I just don't partake in the fantasy. I think it's a fan thing, and I wouldn't consider myself a fan. I would consider myself someone that watches the sport for the sport.
Okay, that's.
I'll
fair.
try to figure out how to say that better.
That's
some point
hard.
in my life.
I can't just watch NFL just because, like, being in South Florida, everywhere you go on Sundays, if the Dolphins are playing, you gotta watch it. But and that's hard. I mean, that's like freaking.
That's hard to watch now.
Yeah, it's brutal. But kudos to the Cowboys. We're gonna come out on top. Here over the Eagles, you know, to get that, you know, first place seeding and hold that, you know, coming without working on the midway part of the NFL season. Looking forward to hopefully Drew Brees come back to the Saints.
Pretty soon, I think.
In the near weeks.
Dude's really pushing it.
Yeah, he's messing up a lot of people's fantasies teams. You know, but the Saints are still, you know, they're holding on strong. They're doing a lot of good things down there with
Teddy. Man, Teddy.
Yeah, another South
boy.
Florida legend. Down
Teddy's the boy.
down in Miami.
A lot of people were thinking, is Teddy going to be able to start on an NFL team next year? I said, I think he could.
He could have.
Do I think he will? No. But he's got the talent to do it.
No doubt. He had a chance to come down to the Dolphins. He chose to stay.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't.
I'm really happy he didn't.
We got the nose and Rosen, baby. He's taking over.
In other news, let's talk about Andrew Luck. I mean, what do you think with how it went down? Obviously, we play football. We all say, there's a point in time where you give and take, and you say, okay, I gotta sit back and I gotta just take a break or just end my career. What was your take on that?
I think that people don't understand what he was going through.
Mm-hmm.
He was his body was taking a toll, and his mind as well. I mean, he's been hurt consistently for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's going to affect his performance to an extent, but it's also going to affect his mind. And I think, when you're doing PT all day and then going to practice and then, repeat, wears you out. And I don't blame him for what he did. If he wants to come back after a couple of years and his body feels better,
I don't mind. I didn't mind him deciding to stop playing, but I think Indianapolis should have took their money back, because he got a win-win out of it. Like, I mean, of course you want to see the players win-win, but
yep.
I don't know. I mean, the Colts are not struggling without him, so I mean, the fans aren't too mad.
I think there's still a lot of time left. You have to understand that aspect of it too.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're giving him money as well. Like they're letting him have the money in case he wants to come back.
Oh, so they're trying to sort of.
They're saying,
keep
what?
him in
There
the
may
loop.
be a chance that he comes back. So we're going to keep him in our good graces so he doesn't go to another team.
You think he's gonna pull a Brett Favre?
I don't think he will, but I think there's a slim chance. I'll go 15% chance on that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Tom Brady to retire too.
I put money to Vegas on that one as well.
Oh man. Alrighty now. First segment here. Carter Jacobs. I had a good time.
It was great. I think we're gonna get better as we go.
Oh, no doubt. Shout out to American Heritage, DBU.
Pace.
Shout out to Pace.
Shout out to the Pace DB coach who's sitting to my left. Who wears sunglasses at night.
Freaking
when it's
that?
nighttime.
You gotta mix it up.
Man was wearing sunglasses.
I took a lot of hits.
He couldn't see the field well enough.
I took a lot of hits wearing that headband. That fashion statement.
Were you concussed? Is that why you had the glasses on? I know that's a frequent thing they do now.
It gets pretty bright under the lights.
It
gets pretty bright, so I got to be able to, They're also I'm farsighted.
Got it.
So I'm just kidding. No, I mean it's a once pregame once it go by, I just forget to take them off.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep them on.
I think one thing I want to do.
I gotta yell out on the field and I gotta snatch them off. But
I think one thing I do want to explain. We're gonna actually have a lot of guests come on that could kind of tell their story as well. Talk about their journeys that are still going or that have ended. So we have a lot of people in mind that are going to come on the show with us and just kind of tell you how it is. And they'll be probably raw with everyone, which is what we want because it's the side of things a lot of people don't see.
Yeah. And I think, to sort of look out for, we're going to have talent. We're going to have underrated talent. We're going to have superstars. We're going to have freaking people that know the game, and you're going to get their honest opinion. And regardless whether it's your favorite or not, you're going to hear it raw. And that's what everybody should be looking forward to and be expecting from us too. We may not butt heads, but we definitely have our opinions.
Of course.
We're going to voice them, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to lay everything out on the air, and hopefully, it's good knowledge and somebody can take it.
I think one person to look out for next week, we're going to have Michael Deeb join us on the show. Someone who's taken a very different path, an interesting path.
That's right.
And I think it's going to be great. It's going to be a great learning experience for everyone. And you're going to get to hear a man who screams at the sun every morning speak.
I love Deeb. Alrighty.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And we'll be catching up with you on the Underestimated podcast.
Alrighty.
Underestimate. Underestimate.